makes it happen.
Do you have these every day?
I wish.
Dale Roberts never uses photographs in his art-making process. Drawing is of integral importance to Dale because he uses his drawings in watercolor studies as the source material for his encaustic paintings. He let me look through his sketchbooks as he talked about what drawing means to him.
There's a lot of different methods going on in the drawings themselves. That's been something I've fostered for a long time. I remember making drawings when I was 12 or 13 years old in upstate New York during the January thaw. And I recall going out at night by moonlight on the melting snow with newsprint and large markers and charcoal, responding to what I'd seen. Was not prompted by anybody's direction. It just seemed to be a natural way to me to capture what I was looking at. And I think most of the drawings I do have something to do with that. There's an inherent limitation in drawing that you look to transcend. So for me, it's often in the way I'm drawing. I don't like to draw the same way all the time and say this is my way of working. Rather, I'd like to have a way of working that is so varied that it's an honest response to the objects, the person, the situation, the emotion I want to carry. The variety of handling and technique has more to do with an honest approach to the different things I see than just saying, well, I need to do a line drawing today or I need to do an ink drawing. It's much more intuitive than that, a natural outgrowth of my response with the visible. When it comes to what I'm drawing for the paintings, often there's a mapping that would go on because I'm working out composition. When I do that, proportion and size and shape, all those issues seem to matter a whole lot. Once that's nailed down, then I can be free to explore character of an object or a situation. And then it's about what's going to be the salient feature of this painting that I'm going to pursue, and how can I translate that into drawing? And how much information do I need to get so that I can be reminded when I get to the painting? Very often then the drawings become notes and reminders to me that help me to free up the pathway so that I can remember exactly what I was looking at and then filter it through the time span. It's working from life, but a couple times removed, which, well, certainly lends itself to painting with encaustic, but it also seems to lend itself to my temperament. More and more it seems to be about these metaphors for what I see, rather than a rendering. By doing it that way, there's a little bit more of an emotional response, and it creeps in almost in spite of itself. We noticed something I had written in a sketchbook about Rembrandt and his wash drawings. They just hold the line between something so fluid and yet so controlled that there's just that little bit of hanging on the wire that to me is a delight in drawing. When it's almost gone, but at the last minute it pulls back. I've always loved Rembrandt's drawings. I've loved the drawings of Ingres for different reasons. The beautiful line, the amazing clarity that he pulls off in a drawing, and the types of line that he'll put together in a drawing have always been wonderful. Daumier is another artist that I've just loved his line work. They're so playful, and yet he gets the character of a thing so clearly. Degas certainly as a draftsman is almost unparalleled. Everything from the finest line to the toughest, he's got it all. To me, you need to have that full range. I go to museums and often will still make drawings from masterworks. I was at the National Gallery and there's a favorite Rembrandt self-portrait. So I had planned to go and do some drawing of it, and there was somebody in front of it the entire time I was there. So I thought to myself, well, I'll just take a good hard look at it, then come back, and 4 hours later I was able to get to the drawing from memory. And it was a wonderful exercise, that discipline of having to remember a thing over the span of time and then confronting the blank page and then recreating it that way. It was a great thing to do. Certain subjects, I think, lend themselves to organizing the spaces and the inner spaces in a kind of shorthand. For me, those little dots and dashes are finding my way across the page and securing intervals that I can then place figures or key elements of structure within. My son plays for the Philadelphia Sinfonia, and there's a crowded orchestra there in front of me with music stands, the instruments, and so forth. And I'm sitting there for quite some time listening, and of course I have my sketchbook. To try to capture that with a discipline of pen and ink, that seems to be a good way to do it. And it was something I sort of stumbled across as I was just responding to that orchestra.
There is something like alchemy that happens in great art. The physical substance of art materials is transmuted into visually perceived emotion. Dale Roberts performs this magic not only with his paintings, but also with the dazzling preparatory drawings that are so vital to his life as an artist.